There's a quiet truth most men don't hear until it costs them months, money, and their peace. A post-cheating confession can be healing, or it can be the next move in control. Confession feels noble, but if it's crafted to manage your reaction, you'll mistake performance for repair. You'll think honesty arrived. What actually arrived was strategy. Beat. Today, we separate real remorse from manipulation so you don't rebuild on quicksand. We're discussing behaviors in unhealthy dynamics, not generalizing to everyone. Use this to spot patterns, set boundaries, and choose healthy relationships. Here's the mechanism in 2 lines. Secrecy creates drift. Drift creates double lives. The confession is either a bridge back to truth or a fire extinguisher for an exposed lie. Which one it is shows up in the details, not the tears. Start with timing. Real confession tends to arrive before discovery, when the person can still hide but chooses not to. Manipulation arrives just after a risk spike. An ex threatens to tell, a credit card alert pings, a friend saw something. You'll hear, "I couldn't live with myself," but the calendar tells a different story. Here's where most men get blindsided. A confession packaged as a love letter. It sounds like, "I told you because you're my person." It feels validating. But if the timing lines up with exposure risk, it's triage, not truth-telling. They say, "I'm telling you because I respect you." Could mean, "This is damage control before someone else tells you." Verify by. Ask when they decided to tell you and what changed that day or week. Respond with, "Respect starts with the whole timeline, not the highlight reel." Next, listen for ownership versus weather reports. Real remorse sounds like, "I chose this. I violated the agreement. Here's what I'm doing to fix it." Manipulation sounds like fog. "We were distant. I was lonely. It just happened." Life can be hard, and loneliness is real, but hard context doesn't choose for us. They did. Notice specificity. A sincere confession knows dates, sequences, and stops pretending memory loss about the parts that matter. Manipulation shapeshifts. It was a blur. We barely did anything. I don't remember much. I was drinking. Adults remember significant choices when they decide to repair. Vague is a choice too. Micro Story 1. A 31-year-old EMT in Atlanta called me after his fiancée cried through a confession 2 months before the wedding. She said it was a one-time mistake at a conference. He stayed calm, asked for the dates, and noticed the conference ended Sunday, but the receipt showed a hotel on Tuesday. He paused the venue payments, suggested a 2-week break, and proposed couples therapy with a disclosure timeline. Within days, her story added 2 more one-time nights. He stepped away with clarity, not rage, and saved himself from a messy divorce year 1. Pressure is another tell. Real remorse makes room for your hurt and your pace. Manipulation tries to control the timeline. Can we move on already? When will you stop bringing it up? You're punishing me. Requests for urgency sound loving, but urgency erodes your nervous system's chance to recalibrate. If they rush you past your pain, they're still prioritizing their comfort over your recovery. Use scripts that protect your dignity without drama. I don't chase or police. I ask direct questions once, then align my actions with the clarity I get. If the story keeps changing, I'll pause intimacy and logistics until we're honest again. I prefer clarity over confusion. Copy those. They're calm, adult, and clear. Here's the part nobody tells you. Some partners will apologize constantly while doing nothing operationally different. They'll cry, cuddle, make playlists, and keep every app locked. Real repair changes logistics. You'll see calendar transparency, cut ties with the affair partner, therapy booked by them, not assigned by you. Performative guilt is about soothing you. Operational change is about protecting both of you. They say, "Can we stop talking about it? You're making me relive my trauma." Could mean, accountability is threatening my control. Verify by. Agree to a weekly check-in window and see if they engage sincerely. Respond with, "I'll keep this to structured check-ins. If you avoid those, we don't have a plan." Notice what quietly flips here. If they start making you the villain for asking normal questions, that's a manipulation loop. Defensiveness, counter-accusations, or playing the victim are smoke screens. Real remorse understands that your questions are not an attack. They're a bridge back to trust. Why does manipulation work? Because novelty dopamine makes people minimize consequences. Compartmentalization lets them split their life into sealed boxes. Projection flips their anxiety into your supposed jealousy. Intermittent reinforcement keeps you hooked. Cold, then warm, sorry, then irritated, clingy, then distant. Your nervous system bonds to the roller coaster. Pause. Calm structure is your antidote. There's another subtle pattern. App-based grand gestures without actual closure. They'll share locations but keep the messaging app where the affair happened. They'll change a wallpaper but won't write a no-contact message. Real repair closes the portal, not just the optics. It sounds like, "I've blocked them, wrote a clear no-contact note, copied you in, and I'll show you that message unprompted." It's not public humiliation. It's basic containment. They say, "It meant nothing," could mean, "I want you to minimize your pain so I can minimize my responsibility." Verify by. Ask them to define nothing and list concrete steps they've taken to ensure it stays nothing. Respond with, meaning, aside, impact is real. Show me the boundary, not a slogan. Hold that thought, because the real test shows up when accountability intersects with lifestyle. If their job, gym, or friend circles constantly intersect with the affair, real repair acknowledges this and adapts. Manipulation insists everything stay the same and tells you to be secure. Security grows when new guardrails reduce threats. It doesn't bloom from wishful thinking. Micro Story 2. A 27-year-old software tester in Manila dated a night shift nurse. She confessed after her coworker's partner started asking questions. He didn't explode. He laid out 3 conditions: a written no contact, switching gyms where the coworker trained, and a 6-week couples counseling plan with 2 individual sessions for her. She agreed without haggling, sent the no contact, and he watched her voluntarily move shifts to avoid overlap. They rebuilt, not because of tears, but because her calendar told the truth. Let's make this practical, with a tight checklist you can screenshot. Clarify the timeline, dates, locations, communication channels. Fog equals pause. Verify closure, no contact message, blocks, and logistics changed where overlap existed. Set structured check-ins. 1 or 2 weekly windows to ask questions and review progress. Protect your body and mind. Health screen, sleep, workouts, and 1 trusted friend looped in. Define consequence paths. What pauses or exits look like if stories shift or boundaries slip. Use boundary language that's simple and calm. I won't do surveillance. I'll do agreements we both can honor and verify. Trust isn't a feeling I give on command. It's a result of consistent behavior over time. I'm willing to work on this, but not while being rushed, blamed, or stonewalled. Keep your tone low and your sentences short. Leadership is less volume, more clarity. Here's where most men sabotage themselves. They move into detective mode and lose self-respect in the process. Don't do secret quizzes, fake profiles, or midnight phone raids. That trains both of you into a parent-child dynamic where you become the cop and they become the teenager. Boundaries, not patrols. Agreements, not ambushes. Calm verification, not constant accusation. They say, "If you can't trust me, just break up with me." Could mean, "I want you to fear loss so you'll stop asking for accountability." Verify by. State your conditions for staying, and watch whether they lean in or storm out. Respond with, "Trust is rebuilt through structure. If you're unwilling, we can part respectfully. Notice what happens next if the confession was real. They accept the discomfort of scrutiny without keeping score. They answer repeated questions without weaponizing fatigue. They track their own progress and update you before you chase them. They don't dangle a breakup to stop the conversation. They invite a plan to move it forward. And if it was manipulation, you'll see a rotating carousel: apology, anger, affection, amnesia. The story changes when you present evidence. They'll reframe your calm as control, your structure as punishment, your pause as abandonment. Lower. That's not repair. That's delay. Research suggests remorse sustains when the person links their actions to a values breach, not just a fear of loss. When you hear language like, "I broke my word to myself first, then to you," you're hearing a values anchor. When you hear, "I can't lose you," that's attachment fear, not necessarily integrity. Attachment fear might bring them back. Integrity keeps them steady. So, what do you do if you're still unsure? Set a 30 to 60-day observation window. No threat, no theatrics. Explain the plan, name the check-ins, and live your life in between. If they escalate chaos during the window, that's your data. If they create structure, consistency, and closure, that's your data. Your job isn't to predict, it's to watch what repeats. 2 more scripts you can copy word for word. I'm open to forgiving, but I don't heal on a deadline. We go at the speed of honesty. Your willingness to help me feel safe now matters more than your reasons for why you felt unsafe then. Identity reframe. You're not the policeman of someone else's promises. You're the guardian of your standards. You don't need to perform coolness or anger. You need clarity. Boundaries over surveillance. Agreements over vibes. Calm verification over accusation. You're not punishing anyone by requiring repair. You're respecting the future version of both of you who deserves a clean slate. If you choose to leave, that's not failure. It's fidelity to yourself. If you choose to stay, that's not weakness. It's a bet placed on consistent evidence. Either path is strong when you're anchored in standards. Choose the relationship where the truth gets easier, not harder, to tell. Subscribe for more direct conversations like this, so you don't waste your time on apologies that don't change a thing.